Hey guys, welcome back. So today's going to be a makeup tutorial on my bottle Meeta, and I'm featuring a couple of MAC pigments in Rose and Heritage Rouge. Rose is a pinkish rose color pigment with gold flecks running through it, and Heritage Rouge is a burgundy brown. Now I'm starting out by applying a little bit of under eye cream under her eyes and on her eyelids, and then applying Urban Decay's primer potion onto her eyelids. Now I've already moisturized her skin. She's got incredibly dry skin, so we've used something a little bit heavy as a moisturizer. And I'm applying the primer from her lash line all the way up to her eyebrows. And then next I'm going to use a second base, and this is the Pomegranate Punk Color Tattoo from Maybelline. And it's in the same color family as the pigments that I'm going to use. Now with the pigments on this base, they'll pop a little bit more and the colors show up a little bit more vibrant. Now as a transition color in her crease, I'm using Buck from the Naked palette by Urban Decay. And I'm just running this through the crease, starting from the outer edge and bringing it all the way in. It's a matte brown, which is a shade or two darker than her normal skin tone. For her brow bone highlight, I'm using Ricepaper by MAC on the same brush that I used to apply the first transition color Buck. And once I've applied the Ricepaper, then I'm going to go in with a clean, fluffy brush just to blend all of the colors in together. It's really important that everything is blended because it will look more seamless and more professional. Now taking Heritage Rouge onto a small crease brush, I'm popping that onto the outer corner of Meeta's eye in a V shape, and I'm going to be blending that in. Now this is a color that I'm using to smoke out the eye, so I'm going to go in as many times as I need just to get the intensity that I want. So I'll pop the color on, blend it out, pop it on again, blend it out, and so forth. And what I'm doing here is with Meeta's eyes open, I'm applying the color just above her crease so that I can see it when she's got her eyes open. And then going in with the first brush that we used to apply the transition shade and just blending it all in together. I'm not taking any extra product, I'm just using whatever's on the brush to blend it all in together. And then going in with Rose pigment, which is going to be the main feature of the eyelid. I'm using this pigment wet. I'm using just rose water to wet the brush with the pigment on it, and then placing it onto the eyelid. Now using it wet gives it a more metallic finish, and it gives it a more rose gold appearance. The rose pigment is slightly more coarse than other pigments, such as the Heritage Rouge, for instance, and it's a little bit harder to work with. You get more fallout, you get less color payoff with it. So when you use it wet, it's a lot easier to use. But if you were to use it dry, then the best way to apply it is just to press the product onto the eyelid rather than sweeping it across. And then going in with the small crease brush just to blend in Heritage Rouge into the rose pigment. And then taking that fluffy brush with Naked and Buck from the Urban Decay Naked palette. Gosh, that's a tongue twister. Taking those colours just to blend everything in together. Using Phloof by MAC just to highlight the inner corners of the eyes. Now this does look really stark, but I'm going to blend it in with the flat shaded brush that I used to apply the rose pigment, and I'm going to go on top of it with another eyeshadow later on once I've done the base, so once I've done the concealer and foundation. Next, I'm wiping off any fall down from the pigment using a makeup remover wipe. And then I'm going to go back in with the under eye cream just to make sure that the area is well moisturized. Using a couple of shades of the Mehron HD foundation, I'm applying that as her concealer and foundation. Now I'm initially applying it quite heavy, but I am going to shear it all down using a stippling brush which has been spritzed with rose water. This foundation is fantastic. It photographs beautifully. It sits really well on the skin, provided the skin is well moisturized. And this foundation is a much loved foundation by Kim Kardashian. I think it's her makeup artist's favored foundation. Taking a much darker foundation, this is by Makeup Atelier Paris. I'm using that just to add in the contours of her face. And I'm going quite rough with this, so it's not accurate, it's not precise, because I am going to blend it out and I want a very soft finish to her skin. I don't want really harsh lines, I don't want harsh contours. I want it all to be really smooth, really seamless, really effortless. I find that when I do a heavier eye, I prefer to do a lighter base. I'm using a damp stippling brush. This is the 187 by MAC, just to shear out the foundation and blend it all in together. So initially I just applied it in patches, and now all I'm doing is just making sure all of it is blended together and it looks like skin. And I have sheared it out. As you can see, her freckles are coming through. Meeta actually likes her freckles, so you know, when they come through, if some people it bothers them, but for her she actually likes them. Now, as this is a really creamy formula, I am going to set the under eye and the center part of her face now. I'm using a translucent powder by RCMA. Actually, this is the No Color powder by RCMA. And I'm patting that on with an e.l.f. pointed brush, and then I'm going to dust it off as I normally do with the same brush. Taking Coppering, which is by MAC again, on a small flat shader brush, and placing that on the lower lash line. So I'm just blending that in all the way from outer edge to inner edge. I'm deepening the outer edges with Embark and then blending that in to the Coppering. So just keeping that on the outer edge and blending that inwards into the Coppering, but not taking that all the way into the inner corner. Using a black gel eyeliner from Shu Uemura, and using that just to line her upper lash line. I've kept it really thin at the inner corner and then thickening it out slightly and creating a small flick at the end. And of course repeating this on the other side. The brush I'm using is actually a nail art brush, and I think I picked this up from a beauty shop in India. I'm now connecting the gel liner onto the bottom lash line and just taking it in halfway. I'm also going to line the inner waterline with this gel liner and using the same brush. I'm taking the flat shader brush that I used to apply the coppering eyeshadow without taking extra product. I'm just blending in the black gel liner into the coppering. Here I'm taking All That Glitters again by MAC onto the inner corner, and this just blends in that inner corner highlight into the rose pigment a bit better than the first eyeshadow we used, which was Phloof. And I'm using that on a very small pencil brush by Zoeva. I'm now going to contour her face with the MAC Mineralise Skin Finish in Dark. And I'm just applying that lightly using the e.l.f. pointed brush, which we used to apply the under eye powder. So like I said, I don't want any harsh contours. I'm using this just to give back structure to the face rather than actually doing hard contours. Now using the Nye Banana Powder on the same brush, I'm using that just to highlight the areas that I want highlighted. So for instance, under the contour, under the eyes, down the nose, on the chin, and just in between her eyebrows and on her forehead, around that area. The Nye Banana Powder is a yellow based powder, so that does help to highlight the areas that you apply it on. Now here I'm going with MAC's Extra Dimension Skin Finish, I think it is, in Magnetic Appeal. This is a limited edition, unfortunately, but it's a gorgeous highlight. Now, unfortunately, it's not really coming out on camera, so what I've done is added extra highlight with the Kiko eyeshadow in 208. The blush that I'm using is Plum Foolery by MAC. It's beautiful on tan skin. It's not shimmery and it's not frosty, but it does have a bit of a sheen to it, and it gives you a really healthy glow. This is a staple in my kit. For the lips, I'm using OCC Lip Tar, and I'm applying the clear one first as a base, and then I'm going to go in with Stalker, which is the red shade. It's a deep red, it's almost like a burgundy red, but when you apply it quite sheer, it comes off almost plummy red, as you'll see in the application. I was going to use the third shade just to make the whole lip colour a bit more nude, but I decided I liked the way this looked, so left it as it is. Now, ideally you want to curl your lashes and then apply mascara, but Meeta is really scared of the lash curler and so absolutely refused to have it done. But we're going in with a few coats of mascara, and then I'm going to brush out her eyebrows while the top lashes dry, and then I'm going to go in with a coat of mascara on her bottom lashes. Now you can also wear false lashes with this and it would look really good. I would probably go for something that's quite long and flirty rather than really heavy on the lashes, because I don't want to actually cover all the work we've done on the eyelid. So long and flirty, wispy would look great. And so guys, this is the final look. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments below what you thought, and if you've got any requests or any looks that you would like me to do. Also, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Bye!